Welcome to another video. What we're going to do is we're going to look at my inbox and we're going to go through the different subject lines, and I'm going to tell you what makes a good subject line, what doesn't make a great subject line, and I'm going to do this by looking at newsletters that I receive into my inbox and kind of giving you different ideas. Now, you might not know this about me, so this is going to be a fun fact, but I'm a proud owner of 4 different inboxes, and they're all full of spam. Well, not spam, I don't want to say spam because I'm actually writing emails for brands, and I would be very offended if someone called it spam. But I have a lot of emails that I don't read. Okay, I sign up to newsletters. It's like an addiction of mine, and then I just never read them. So today is a great opportunity to sort my inbox together and talk about the subject lines. So this is inbox number 1, which is in my one of my email addresses, and let's look at what we have here. Okay, so the first one we have Dan from Passion.io. I have no idea what brand this is and why I signed up for it, but their subject line reads 100 million and counting, closing today. And then the preview text is, "Hi Adriana, Simplify Your Traffic is closing tonight." So let me analyze this headline for you. What Dan did here, or Dan's copywriters, they used a number in the subject line. So numbers are very powerful, and it would be even more powerful if instead of saying just 100 million, he said like 100 and hello. Let me just use it. So instead of saying 100 million, he could have, for example, said 127 million. Now, why? This is a cool copywriting trick where the more specific the number is, the more it catches our attention and the more legit it appears. So if someone just said 10 or 20, the rounded numbers have less specificity, and we love specifics. So the more specifics you can have in your subject line, the better. And if you said 127 million instead of 100, the brain of the reader would just be more curious about the number. That's just, it's proven. Don't quote me on it, but it's proven. Okay, now then you have end counting, and then you have closing today. So he used some urgency by saying that, okay, like this is the day. If you don't click this, then obviously we don't know what this email is about because I didn't look at Dan's previous email, so I have no idea what simplifier traffic is, and I don't really care that it's closing tonight. However, if I was someone that has seen his previous emails and someone who is interested in simplifier traffic as a potential product that could solve a problem for me, I would click this email because it's playing on my urgency, like it's closing tonight and you're not gonna get another chance. Now, just to show you that Dan has been talking about this for a while, let's find more of his emails and hopefully, okay, so you see he's been emailing me for a while and I feel like I'm quite rude just ignoring all his emails. He should have removed me from his list, to be honest. When brands normally clean their email lists and they remove inactive users, but he hasn't removed me. Okay, so we have 100 million and counting. And then he had, okay, you see, he's been talking about simplifier traffic to me for a while. Here he was comparing simplifier traffic versus Facebook ads. Then he was talking simplifier traffic accelerators, simplifier traffic 100K boring challenge workshop. So you see, he's been talking about this for a while. So ideally, if I was a primed subject and I would know what simplifier traffic is, so when this email came through, like bam, Adriana, it's closing today, it's like a yes or no, make your decision because this is your last chance, it's closing. So this subject line would be great. It's just that I'm not the target audience, so I don't care about the fact that it's closing today. Now, could he have made it better? I suppose yes. Well, I don't really know what end counting means, so maybe I'm going to say I don't know if he could have made it better, because in this situation I don't really know what he's referring to with the 100 million and counting. Is that the profit simplifier traffic made, or like, so I think he thinks that he's talking to an audience that already knows and is interested in simplifier traffic, but at the same time he's sending it to me who has no idea. So that means that his email marketing strategy is not quite on point, because ideally he should be filtering out people that have no idea. Like he should be segmenting his audience so that this subject line should not go to people who haven't clicked any of his previous emails. This subject line should only go to people who know what simplifier traffic is. And if you don't know what simplifier traffic is, you should get a different subject line, which kind of, it could say it's closing today and something amongst those lines, but it shouldn't talk about a concept that I don't know anything about. Anyway, Dan, thank you for being my subject of review. Goodbye. Now we have Sarah Turner. You all know Sarah Turner. She's a fellow copywriting tutor, which I love. I think she's very sweet and beautiful. So if anyone who watches Sarah is watching this, say hello. So Sarah's subject line: the customer is not always right. So this is giving me the vibe that Sarah is going to tell us a story about a situation where a customer was not right, and it was probably some kind of a conflict or something like that. And then the subject line says, Adriana, when you start your freelance writing career, ... We can't see a lot. So if I was a beginner freelance copywriter that's about to start my career and I'm interested in copywriting and I'm very excited about it, it's 100% confirmed that I would click this email to read the story, because I'm interested in the topic and I love storytelling. I love storytelling, and you can see that Sarah is a copywriter because from the subject line you can already see that she's talking about the story, and it's creating curiosity as well, because this one sentence, although it's just a statement like the customer is not always right, it's implying a bunch of things. Like, we already know there's going to be a story in this, so we're curious to find out. But it's also, there's this, we know that the story is not going to be so easy. It's going to be about conflict or a challenge. And we love that. We love reading about challenges and how we're able to overcome them. We're expecting a little bit of drama and controversy. So I think that this simple subject line would work perfectly. And I imagine that Sarah probably had at least between 50 and 70% open rates on this one, Sarah. Confirm in the comments if you're watching this. So yeah, I imagine, because her audience, she's a copywriter, so I imagine that her audience is very engaged and she does a lot of storytelling. And I've only opened a few of her emails, and but I also, used to watch her YouTube videos when I was learning. So yeah, Sarah, love you. Okay, thank you. Bye. Liz Wilcox. Now, Liz teaches people how to write emails for their list, and she's very cool. She has a very cool vibe. She's very straightforward, and she's one of the first people that I saw just writing plain text emails without photos or GIFs or anything in there. Not much anyway. And I really love that, because it lets us concentrate just on the text, and it kind of feels more personal. So her subject line says, how long should my email be? Raise your hand if you've ever scrolled a newsletter and deleted it. Okay, so how long should my email be? So what Liz did here, and this is a very cool strategy. If you are ever writing content for, or if you're ever writing emails for a brand, and the emails are kind of, you have to create almost like a content calendar for the newsletter. So a good strategy is to take the frequently asked questions that the clients have for the business. If it's for example, if it's a pair of shoes, you will get questions like, oh, should I go a size up or a size down? If it's a course, you will get questions like, oh, do I get a coaching call? Or, there are always questions that customers have before purchasing a product. So a good strategy is to answer these questions and make an email and answer to a question. That's exactly what Liz did here. And her subject line is just that. It's a question that gets asked frequently by her customers, and she used it as a subject line. It's a perfectly perfect way of structuring your subject line. So, and obviously Liz is a genius, so thank you, Liz. Goodbye. And also, this is really the first sentence: raise your hand if you've ever scrolled a newsletter and deleted it. like this first sentence, the preview text is perfect because it's automatically putting us in a relatable situation. Okay, so next, 6 hours until doors close, fire emoji, and then this is your last chance. So this is, okay, Dharma Coaching Institute. Again, I'm not sure when I signed up to this newsletter. So yeah, this is a very basic subject line, like 6 hours until doors close and fire emoji, this is your last chance. Like, there's nothing, like, I feel like it could have been done much better, is what I'm trying to say. Now, I'm not being offensive to the copywriter that did the Dharma Coaching Institute email. I'm just saying that we always have room to play, and because every brand tends to write this kind of email, like 6 hours until doors close, but you know, they just don't make a big impression on us anymore. We're just like, yeah, whatever, you know, did you see I had this other email from Dan who was saying like, oh, it's ending today, and then the doors are closing. You can imagine if you go into your inbox and you see a bunch of these emails, you're just not very impressed. You're like, and, you know, unless it's something you really care about and have been planning to buy. But most of us are not quite like in this mindset. We're just kind of like, oh, inbox, oh, impulsive buying, you know, whatever. So in my opinion, this is a very lazy headline. Like, it will work, but you could do so much better. And if you're ever writing emails, you can just try and test this against something more creative, and you will see that, you know, this is just so basic. Like, it's so basic. So yeah, goodbye. Again, we have another one from Dharma. Ali became her own job security in 6 months. That's so much better. You know, that's so much better. Like, I'm more likely to open this one than the anxiety driven, like, oh, it's ending today in 6 hours. Like, whatever, don't try to stress me. Like, I have enough stress in my life. I don't need you to tell me I have 6 hours to do something at my own pace. So this I love. Like, it's such a, you know, for somebody, like, there are so many people that can relate to this, right? And it has a name which gives us specifics. It has a time frame, 6 months, which is very specific. But then they hit us with the doors closed today, which I'm kind of like, what? Like, you're gonna try and sell me something. Like, before I even click the email, I can see you're gonna try and sell me something. So I might just be like, you know what? I was interested in the story until you tried selling to me. Now I'm not interested. Goodbye. But good try. Again, we have Liz. 2 quick list BLDG tactics for you. So, I don't know what BLDG stands for, if I'm being honest. And this could be a good thing, because I could be curious and be like, oh, what does that stand for? And then I don't know if you see that she makes her subject lines, like, she doesn't capitalize any of the letters, and it just seems like a friend had written this. You know, it's very like informal, and she uses for ya instead of for you, which is also, again, informal. And then she goes, do you remember Mary-Kate and Ashley, Adriana? So Mary-Kate and Ashley, I think everybody remembers them. So again, like, her vibe is very informal, very friendly, and if you go to her website, you will see, like, I'm not gonna do that because that's not what this video, but again, you know, we have this informal subject line which gives us like this sense of familiarity. It's different to everything else, well, except for Dan Cole. Apparently he has the same idea. But you know, like, it's really nice. It's like, she's giving you something, so she's not selling, she's saying, I'm about to give you something, and then she starts with like a familiar thing, like, do you remember them? And that's going to strike some memories, and you know, and then it also continues like, how about tea? And you might be like, oh, I want to know who that is, so you click it. Like, you have to remember that the idea of the subject line is to get the person to click the email, and when they click it, the idea is to keep reading, right? So, do you remember Mary-Kate and Ashley? Then how about Tia and Tamara? Hit reply and let me know which set of 90s twins you loved back in the day, right? So the whole idea of the whole email is just to get you reading, but the idea of the email is to get you to read, like, to get you to read to the end, to consume the content, to click the CTA, right? But the subject line and the preview text, their only role is to get you to open the email, and you can do some priming in the subject line for the content in the email, but essentially you just wanna get the person to open your email. Okay, now I have Uber Eats. Next time you order in, give Uber Uber Eats a go. Okay, like this is just one of those emails that probably almost nobody opens, but what you'll do unless you're hungry. But what it does is it keeps Uber Eats top of mind for you. So there's this thing called brand exposure, and every brand has to regularly expose itself to you in order to stay top of mind for you, so that when you are facing a purchasing decision, you're very likely to go with Uber Eats as opposed to Deliveroo, just because Uber Eats has constantly been in your inbox sending you emails. Even if you've been doing this the entire time, it doesn't matter, because you've been seeing Uber Eats here and they've probably been retargeting you with some ads and whatever else. So yeah, I don't think that subject line was particularly good, and I don't imagine a lot of people open Uber Eats emails just because it's Uber Eats, like unless they're sending you a discount or something. But yeah, like they're just staying top of mind, and it's very likely I will consider them. You know, there are multiple brands like Uber Eats who offer the same service, but I just don't know them because Uber Eats is the most popular one, and they're really, you know, trying hard to stay top of my list. And that's their strategy. That's all they can do. I mean, they could do more, but that's what they choose to do. Okay, then we have AliExpress. To pair with what you purchase, we've got these picks for you. So this is part of AliExpress's post-purchase flow, right? So to admit to you, yes, I did order from AliExpress, okay? Sometimes you can get really good jewelry, like silver jewelry, that's pretty cheap. And it's interesting designs. So anyway, I ordered something from AliExpress, but this was months ago, okay? I'm not their frequent customer or anything like that. And they're sending me an email that says to pair with what you purchase, we've got these picks for you. So there are a few things that, like, this subject line is very basic. There's nothing special about it. However, what it does is it triggers your purchasing behavior. Like, they're reminding you of the time that you purchased with them. And if it was a good experience, you're very likely to click this email, because especially for something like AliExpress where they have millions of different products, it's very likely that you might want, and they're relatively cheap, like it can be an impulsive purchase, right? And with this subject line and with this email, what they're doing is they're triggering your purchasing behavior and kind of being like, hey, here we are in case you want to buy some things you don't need, basically. So I mean, it does what it's meant to do, and it doesn't, I mean, they could make it a little bit better if they wanted to, like, play around with it, but this kind of basic subject line, I feel like it almost goes with what AliExpress is and like what kind of quality products they have and stuff. Like, they're just trying to trigger that behavior, that's all. So thank you, AliExpress. I'm not gonna buy anything again though, well, maybe in the future. Then we have Danko, who says, this is why your life sucks and how to reinvent yourself. Thanks, Dan. Like, I didn't think my life sucked, but there you are in my inbox. So personally, I think we have to be very careful with subject lines like this, okay? You don't want to, I don't believe in triggering anxiety or like bad feelings in people. Walt Disney once said that people buy where they feel good, and he based the entire Disney business on that, making people feel good and feel the magic and stuff. If you hit someone with this is why your life sucks and someone is already having a bad day, can you imagine the impact you're having? So some people will read this and go, okay, how to reinvent yourself, here's a solution, and it might be a positive thing, or it might be the fact that your audience will read this and be like, oh look, here's another person telling me how to solve all my problems. So I think that we have to, as marketers, as copywriters, we have to strive to kind of have a positive impact and say things in a positive way. Now, it could be that Dan's audience resonates with that specifically. Maybe they're very motivated to change their lives, and you know, he knows that this is what's going to work for them. But I would personally, I would probably rethink that. Unless it's something that's like a constant thing in his branding, but just I would probably try to phrase it in a better way. However, if you look at it like on the basis, you have problem solution, right? your life sucks, here's how to reinvent yourself. So this subject line preview text would work pretty good, like in theory. Like the formula is nice, it's creative, I like it. Just, you know, maybe telling someone that their life sucks is not but I don't know, I mean, who am I to judge, Dan? Thanks for being here. Okay, let's do one last one. Let's do a random one. I'll just close my eyes and pick one. Okay, Dharma coaching again. They're gonna feel like I'm picking on them. Almost 10K a month while working full time, 3 days until doors close. So they keep doing the same freaking thing where they like tease a story and then they're like, buy this thing. It's like, I promise you, just take out the 3 days until doors close out of your subject, out of your preview line, please. Do us all a favor, because this is great. Like, you're about to tell a story, and as long as you're mixing up your subject lines so people don't get like, oh, you know, like, this is another inspiring story. Like, you have to mix up your newsletter content, otherwise like people will just be like, ugh, every time they see your newsletter. And it seems that Dharma is kind of doing that. Like, Liz quit her job and almost 10K a month, and from struggling to pay bills to 335 million downloads. Like, I feel like you need to vary your newsletter stuff, because people will get eventually bored of like the same content, and you have to get a little bit creative. Now, I'm interested to see if they actually tell the story. Adri, we'd love to reach you to the Kai. Yeah, that's perfect. You see, this is so freaking powerful. So I don't understand why you ruin an email, a storytelling, beautiful email like that with this stupid preview line. Unless you've really tested it and it works, then okay, what do I know? You know, I'm going to quit copywriting today. But I feel like, you know, you're like, we have this beautiful story and buy from us. It's like, don't do that. It's weird. I don't like it. Anyway, okay. Don't miss this, but you see, they keep doing this. Why do you do that? Anyway, okay. I like this one. Sarah, a peek into Adriana's future. You literally changed my life. I love it. You see, she's not trying to sell me anything like that, like through anxiety. Anyway, okay, that's it for today's video. I hope that you enjoyed it. Wait, let's just go into the promotions tab quickly, because I feel like this is gonna be so hilarious. So basically, let's see what happens here. So we can see that the reason I didn't know about simpler traffic is because Dan's emails end up in my promotion tab, and I never come here. So maybe if they did go to my main inbox, I would have known. It's also funny because for some, like for example, this brand, I would receive this email in my other email address. I receive this to my proper inbox, and for this email address, I receive it to the promotions. And I also see that Liz's emails are going to my promotions tab as well, some of them. So I'm not 100% sure on how the Google algorithm works and why these promotions. I also think that it's depending on your personal usage. Like if you're opening certain emails, then probably the Google algorithm is going to push those emails to your proper inbox. And if you're not opening certain emails, Google's going to try and filter your inbox to make it a better experience for you, and they're going to put your those emails in your... So as a brand or as a copywriter, your job would be to send out emails that get the highest open rates and the higher engagement rates, to make sure that your emails are landing in inboxes for as many people as possible, and not in the promotions tab, because once you end up like fully in the promotions tab, I mean, nobody goes there. So that was a very long-winded way to say, write good emails, write amazing subject lines, so that people open your emails, read your emails, they click through, and they engage with your brand, and then Google's gonna be happy, and you're gonna be happy, and everyone's gonna be happy. Okay, so that's really it. Okay.